Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now our first story comes from a throwaway account and says, am I the arsehole here for winning a couple of million on the lottery and giving half to my ex before I met my current girlfriend? So I'm 35 male and was with my ex from school until 5 years ago. We have a child together too that we both co-parent really well. We have a fallout with each other, but the love and attraction has all gone. She cheated on me, but there's more to the story than that, and it's not all on her. 2 years ago, I had happened to win around 4 million on the lottery. My first thought was my child. I wanted him to grow up with an equal life, like he has mine, and the less stress his parents have, the less stress he has. I decided to split the winnings with my ex. We both have been sensible with the money. I quit my job as a mechanic, took my sports and football coaching badges, and with a friend we started a business going around primary schools doing classes in all sorts of sports and fitness, and also helping out local sports clubs and teams with coaching and methods, etc. It will never make us rich, but we make around 1.5 times the national average wage. I bought a 300k house and a 40k car, and that's about it. My ex opened up a beauty salon that's doing really well and also bought herself a house. I met my current girlfriend on a night out around 6 months ago. Things have been going well. She knows I won the lottery, and that's why I've got a nicer house and car than my income will normally provide, and why I like to go away on nice holidays a couple of times a year. She's never asked for anything from me materially and kept insisting on covering half the dates despite me offering to pay every time. We are getting more serious, but nowhere near moving in or anything like that, or her meeting my son yet. It all came to a head last week when the subject of my ex came up, and my girlfriend said how nice a beauty salon is. We were with a couple of friends and one of them said, "It should be nice. Sam paid for it." She asked what he was talking about, and before I could answer, my friend said, he gave her 2 million quid. My girlfriend was quiet for the rest of the night, and then when we got back to mine, she exploded and said I was still in love with her and that's why I gave her the money. That I wasn't normal. That no wonder a lottery winner only lives in a house like this and drives a shit car when I gave half away. That I was a gullible simp. How embarrassed she is by me, how we could be set for life with that money and never work again, etc, etc. It went on for so long I told her to leave us as I'm going to bed and not listening to this anymore. Haven't seen her since, and she hadn't answered my calls or replied to my messages, apart from the odd insult until today, when she said the only way she could stay with me is to ask my ex for whatever money she has left to be returned to me so she can save face. I told her no, and I'm done with her. She again accused me of trying to buy back my ex, and I blocked her. Is this going to be a problem I have with other women going forward? Am I the arsehole for this? Now, I'm sure some people are going to focus on the whole cheating thing and they're giving her the money, etc, etc, but in my opinion, you did this for the benefit of your child. It was your choice. You weren't in a relationship with your new girlfriend at the time, so, basically it has nothing to do with her. The fact that she's blocked you, etc, etc now is a huge red flag. There was a little part of me thinking, did she already know about this lottery win of some sort? But you watch, in that update, I bet you she's coming back into the story. NYC Storyteller says, lol, it may be a problem for other women you date going forward, but that's a good weed out method. Someone who properly loves you will see that you're a good man who took care of the mother of his child and ensured that both of you can have a good life, even though you're no longer together. I think it's a green flag. Opie says, thank you so much for putting my mind at ease. I was starting to think I'd done something wrong, but I didn't know what. NYC replies saying, some people will say you did too much, but at the time of your win, you and your ex had only been separated for a couple of years, and if you had won it when you were still together, you would have split it 50-50. I imagine it makes a lot of things easier for you as a co-parent knowing that you split the win with her, since you can never really say that you owe her anything for your child, and your child is well provided for. Opie says it just felt right because what's the point in my son having one rich parent and one struggling parent? Prepare to do battle says, you did a good thing for the benefit of your child and your child's mother. Well done. Opie says I agree, but it's surprising she never asked for anything before. Then Opie replied to a deleted comment and says I agree, but it's surprising as she never asked for anything before. Even when her car broke down and I fixed it, she tried to offer me money for it. Maxwell says, she was playing the long game, brother. This is why she erupted in anger, because she realized she made a bad bet that wasn't going to pay off like she was plotting. Opie says that's what my friend said. He said she was going to act like this until she had her feet under the table. Another one says, your friend is correct. You did it to give your kid a stable life in both households. That and you seem to have no ill will towards your ex. Lots of people can't say that. A misguided belief that we wouldn't have to work is all that needs to be said. She decided to still work in a different venture. She was planning to not work at all and live off you. I'd say you got to see the true her before getting on any further. It's only been a short while. I'd walk and something else will come up. Then Opie updates the post and says just a quick update as I got a lot of nice comments and messages on my original post. She unblocked me and asked for forgiveness. But I said no, it's gone too far and for me, it's over. She didn't take it very well and I got bombarded with abusive messages for a day or two. But they've stopped today, as have the phone calls from a withheld number. A few people asked on the last post why I gave my ex half rather than put it in savings for our kid. Between us, we have nearly $1 million that we have put aside for him. That cannot be touched and will earn interest over the years. As for the cheating, which a lot of people mentioned, we were each other's first for everything, and we talked about it and both admitted a few years we felt a touch of regret. We both agreed to threesomes, so over the course of the next year or so, we had threesomes with a few men and a few women. Unfortunately, she ended up catching feelings for one of the men. Not the end of the world and no reason for us to fall out. Commenter says, you're a real man, you know that, right? Like a real good one. Sacrificing half your wealth for the betterment of your child was a real power move in the realm of maturity in my opinion. I think your kid is going to have a significantly more stable life because of your decision and receive the myriad of mental health benefits that accompany that. Be proud of yourself and screw the gold digger. Someone like that isn't worth a second thought to a man of your caliber. Opie says, you're making me blush. Thank you. And one more comment from Dark who says, not the arsehole. She's the woman you have a kid with and you two did each other's solid by trying to move forward together and being mature enough to split amicably and still set aside enough for your joint child. The money, I think, is fair. Whatever money you guys had before split or earn/won would be joint. But even afterwards, taking care of the people that mean something to you is a responsible thing to do. Your girlfriend shouldn't be involved with your money. And a majority of the comments on this one were just saying, yeah, she was an absolute gold digger. And as they say in Mordor, bullet dodged. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from our very own subreddit. It does have an update as well. It's from Nolt Mage and says, am I the asshole for shutting down my wife's party favor idea? For some context, the story starts last year at our 7-year-old son's birthday party. I, 32 male, and my wife, 32 female, held the party at our home. We decided to leave the bulk of the planning to my wife, as she loves this kind of thing and wanted to take the reins. I had no reason to doubt any of her plans, as she did a great job with our past parties. I handled invites, food orders, and anything else she needed me to do. To her credit, she did a great job with the party itself. Everything ran smoothly, and the kids had a great time. Until she brought out the party favors that she had kept a surprise from me. They came out when our friend had to leave with her daughter right after the cake. Before she could, my wife went into the back room and came out with a bag, the biggest grin on her face. What was inside the bag, you ask? A small tetra fish from the pet store to be given as a party favor. My friend was flabbergasted. Her daughter's face beamed with excitement at the sight of her new pet. Mummy, I've always wanted a fish. My friend was at a loss for words, only glaring at me. She declined the fish, walking out of the party while her daughter clung to her, throwing a tantrum about turning down her new pet. Obviously, the chaos caused a scene, as all the children now knew about the fish. Every single parent in the room was pissed, glaring, muttering, the whole works. What are we going to tell our kids? Great, now I have to get a fish tank. Most parents obliged and reluctantly accepted the fish. The whole time my wife was elated at the sight of the happy children, oblivious to how their parents reacted. We ended up having to take a few fish home that had been turned down, meaning we also had to buy a tank. My wife couldn't understand why anyone would pass up a wonderful 50-cent fish she grabbed this morning from PetSmart. Fast forward to now, 1 year later. It's a month away from my son's 8th birthday party, and my wife broached the topic of party favors. She exclaimed that we should hand out fish again. The kids loved it. It was a hit last year. I do not want to go through this again. Several of my friends who were at the party complained about having to take care of these fish, being put in a situation where they felt pressure to accept the gift to avoid upsetting their child. They had never received such a ridiculous party favor, and they wouldn't be attending if this was the case again. Not to mention, this feels horribly abusive to the fish, who now have owners who don't want them. My wife brushed all this off, saying that the parents were being selfish for not thinking about what makes the kids happy. She apparently didn't notice anyone upset at the party, only focusing on how the kids felt. She's calling me controlling, saying she doesn't even want to plan the party if she can't have this her way. All of her small group church friends agree with her. I don't want to upset my friends by putting them in an unfair situation, but I don't want to upset my wife because she truly does enjoy putting these events together. So Reddit, am I the arsehole for telling my wife not to buy party favor fish? Absolutely not the arsehole. The simple fact is, pets are not party favors. It's as simple as that. They're living creatures that need proper care, equipment, and ongoing responsibility. And that would piss me off if someone handed my child a fish like that because it's trying to force you to take that responsibility, because your child's seen it, they're going to cry, they want that pet, etc., etc. And it's incredibly cruel on the fish as well, they're not toys. And the fact that afterwards that she's doubling down and calling you controlling on it is concerning. Followed by a sprinkling of manipulation threatening to, bail on planning when she can't have her way. A Hairgiver says, I think you need to have a group text with the parents from last year and include your wife in it. Ask them to be candid about their feelings as wife is considering doing it again. Awkward School says this definitely. Opie's wife is being selfish. 1, that's an expense. 2, it's a responsibility. 3, who is she to try and dictate other people's parenting? She's going to alienate her son's friends from future parties. Lastly, your wife needs to self-examine and realize who's being the controlling one. She asked your son what he wants on his day. Your wife is lacking self-awareness, being judgmental, a burden to these parents and controlling. Not the arsehole. No Visible Tumor says, okay, so fish need a tank that has been up and running for a while before they can safely be put in it. Beneficial bacteria need to build up in the system to be able to keep the fish's waste from making the water toxic and killing them. You know how people talk about their new fish all dying off in the first 48 hours of ownership? Yeah, this is why. Did the fish you brought home survive for very long? If not, this is most likely the reason. Imagine dying because you had to live and breathe in your own piss water. It's a horrible way to go. If those fish did survive, they're very lucky and your family probably did a very good job of staying on top of water changes and ammonia levels. Will resentful parents force into spending a bunch of money on and caring for the fish they didn't want in the first place? My guess is no. If your wife neither cares about the cruelty to animals involved nor the imposition she is placing on her guests, if her dopamine hit from the kids who don't know any better praising her behavior is more important than both of these things, maybe try therapy. This is a deeply selfish, tone-deaf, and self-centered thing to do once, not to mention twice. Not the arsehole, and good luck with all of that. ETA, I just talked to my partner about this post and he came up with a great compromise. Tamagotchis. If she insists on giving out pets, that's a really good way to do it. Rhino Technology says, not the arsehole. I hate to say it, but your wife has a very low emotional intelligence. I'm always appalled at people who treat other living beings as inanimate objects. Absolute cruelty to animals, and what's really alarming is that your wife can't pick it. And also to pull this kind of crap on parents using their kids for their own dopamine hits, as another commenter mentioned. What's her next trick for party favors? Puppies, kittens, or baby chicks? And of course a little church group is on her side. If they are anything like mother-in-law's group, Southern, they're like the Borg. Another commenter says, not the arsehole, your wife is the Lulu. That's animal abuse and highly selfish and manipulative. She likes the thrill of making a child happy with none of the consequences or cost of keeping a pet. Stop being a buffer and have the people who are upset take it straight to her. Then take your son to a party at a friend's house when she's busy and come back with a harmless small snake without a habitat and explain it was a party favor and can roam around the house free range. Obviously take it back to the shop when your point is made. So OP did update the post and says, hey Reddit, it's been nearly a month since I posted about the party favor situation between my wife and I. My son had his birthday yesterday. I wanted to share an update on how everything turned out. I took your guys' advice and decided to just talk to her. I used a lot of your points from the comments to reason with her, especially the ones about animal abuse. My wife just kept insisting that I was controlling, eventually just shutting down and walking away, giving me the silent treatment. For those of you asking if this happened before, yes. Not the party situation exactly, but the I'm going to make a horrible selfish decision and if you push back you're controlling behavior. She has backed out of multiple parties and events last minute because she didn't feel like going and accused me of abandoning her when I told her I still wanted to go. Insisted I stop playing guitar because she finds it annoying. Attended a wedding in a swimsuit because she was told there was a pool. Proceeded to spend the whole reception at the pool because they're your friends. I don't really care about celebrating them. Pushed back on my insistence to find a new school for our son, even though he was being bullied, because she didn't feel like causing a scene. Our son is in a new school now and he's much happier. I was fed up and refused to give in. I can't let my son go through this, and I'm not letting him lose friends because of my wife's selfishness. After literally following my wife around the house trying to get her to talk to me, she said, fine, if you want it your way, you can plan this party yourself. So I did. I planned the party myself, besides the invitation, location, and date, which were already planned. My wife also demanded on picking out the cake, and that wasn't a hill I was willing to die on. It wasn't anything special, but I'm actually kind of proud. It was Jurassic Park themed. My son and I just watched all the movies together, and he adores them. He's really excited for the new one. I themed each table around different dinosaurs and put plastic dinosaurs everywhere. As for the party favors, I gave out little bags of candy. Nothing amazing, but the kids were happy, my son was thrilled, and no fish were harmed in the making of this party. After the party, my wife kept telling me how lame everything was, that the party was boring, and the kids weren't literally jumping up and down for my candy party favors like they were for hers. Frankly, I don't care. Sure, the kids didn't have brand new pets to bring home, but at least my party favors didn't piss off all of our friends and doom my son to a life of friendlessness. Truly, I don't know how things are going to go with my wife and I. I'm reaching my limit with her insanity. I've tried insisting on marriage counseling, but she refuses unless it was done by the pastor of our church. We went and it was a whole session of the pastor telling me I'm not a good enough man to take care of my wife, about how I'm turning away from God with my actions and that's ruining our marriage. Needless to say, we haven't gone back, and ever since my wife loves to use this session against me in arguments. I loved her, but I'm finding it harder each day to keep being in love. I hate the idea of my son thinking this is a happy marriage and that this is a healthy way to live. Divorce scares me, but I don't know if I can live with this anymore. In the end, thank you Reddit for helping me realize there's a lot going wrong in my marriage, far beyond the forced fish adoption crisis. I have a lot to think about, but for now, I'm going to finish watching Jurassic World with my son, who's curled up in my lap. By the way, 2 of the 3 fish we had to take home last year are still going strong. They've grown on me, but damn, I'm never getting another fish. No matter how good that party would have been, it would have always been called lame by your wife because she didn't do it, because it wasn't the way that she wanted, and she's calling you the one that's controlling. And as we see with many of these stories, it's not about that initial title, but just a pattern of behavior. And what you said is concerning. The swimsuit stuff, you know, your friends, not mine, or that kind of thing, trying to stop you from protecting your bullied son, weaponizing that, the pastor, I always say it wrong, I always feel like I'm saying pasta as in food, the pastor's session against you, you know, absolutely awful. That's not a counseling session. And simply in the end, like we see a lot of people in these stories again come to the realization that you're not crazy. This is a pattern of behavior that you're noticing and you're fed up with it. There's someone who's consistently prioritizing her own impulses, if you like, over everyone else around her, including your own kid. And let's face it, kids absorb everything. He's seeing how parents treat each other. He's seeing these things. And it sounds like you're coming to the point of making some huge decisions that's going to change your lives. And quite frankly, after I read that, I can't blame you either. I mean, without everything else you mentioned and just the fish situation, it was pissing me off. The whole attitude towards it, not seeing, you know, that this is cruelty and it's irresponsible, etc. And not seeing that as well was hugely concerning. But whatever decision you make going forward, I really do wish you all the best. Little side note before we move forward, there was mentions of Tamagotchis there. It sort of brought me back to my childhood. When they first come out, I remember getting one, and you know, mine didn't last long. But I discovered that like a little hack, if you like, on it. If you kept the battery thing, or you got a tiny piece of paper, and you slid it into usually what holds the battery from connecting, like when you first get it. If you slide that in at the Tamagotchi and press the buttons at the same time, eventually you get like a full-grown one. I'm not sure how it worked, if it just bugged it out completely or whatever. Sometimes it would just pop up with the dude, and the whole screen was covered in turds. I mean, obviously it ruined the enjoyment for it straight after, because, you know, you had a fully grown Tamagotchi, then it's like, what's the point? But anyway, I'm going off on one as usual. What do you guys make of today's collection of stories? Did you have your own Tamagotchi? How long did it live? Let us know your thoughts. If someone says it, mine's still alive today. Oh dear. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved with the stories, your love, your support, your time. If you do have your own story, don't forget to share it at r/marknarrations. Would love to see it. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.